Hello, internet. I'm BoneCarlos, and I got Black Ops. Pretty crazy because I said I wasn't gonna get it, but I heard about theater mode, and it was on sale over the weekend for 39. Decided to, hey, why not pick it up? And I'm actually enjoying it quite a bit, especially because of theater mode. It's a lot easier for me to record my videos and do all that other fun jazz. So right now I'm gonna bring you a couple of team death matches. They're fairly quick. So I just go ahead and went ahead and put them back to back for your enjoyment. So since I didn't get anything, any comments on what I should talk about, I'll go ahead and pick up kind of where I left off on that DMB story, and I'm gonna go ahead and take you back a little bit. Talk about high school for me. Now, the thing I'm going to be talking about is sexual harassment. Yes, sexual harassment or harassment, as my PE teacher liked to call it for some reason. And my stories on 3 of the 4 years I was in there, I was accused of sexual harassment. It was sophomore, junior, and senior year. Kind of interesting, I feel. Tried to go for the 4, but, you know, no one really complained about me in my freshman year. So here we go. On sophomore year, I was part of a band. Yay, band! Woo, love it. That's actually pretty fun. And we would go out in competitions and compete and do all that other good stuff. And there'd be 2 buses, one for male, one for female. And so whenever we go change into our uniform and change out, we would use those 2 separate buses. So anyways, after our competition, you know, we did all that jazz. We went back to the buses. We were going to go ahead and change. Unfortunately, the bus that was designated, the female bus, that's where all my stuff was. So my clothes and all my other stuff was in that female bus. So, you know, I had to wait. I'm like, hey, no big deal. I'll wait. No problem. So I went to the next bus over, and this was a dude bus. So I was just hanging out, waiting for everybody to get done. When a chick from our school tried to get into our bus, and I'm like, hey, you know what? You can't come in here. Dudes are changing. So just wait. I have to wait. No big deal. She's like, no, I'm getting. So she pushes me aside, and I'm just like, wow, really? That's cool. And as she pushes me aside, she says, it's not like I haven't seen anything that you guys got before, or something like that. And as she's doing this, I see one of the chaperones. I'm like, hey, she just went on the bus. You know, she's not allowed to do that. I'm not allowed to go on the female bus. She shouldn't be allowed to be on the male bus while we're changing. And she's like, oh, grow up. Okay, no problem. So I said, okay, no problem, thank you. Walked over to the female bus, walked in, shitstorm ensued. No joke, screaming, yelling, etc. Blah 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 blah. No big deal. I'm like, hey, listen, I'm just trying to get my backpack. I want to change. It's like, get out of the bus. You're not supposed to be here. And it's like, hey, you know what? You don't have anything I haven't seen before already. And, you know, they're making a big ass deal out of nothing, really. I'm just trying to get my backpack. When finally one girl, real cool, loved her to death. She was awesome. She's like, hey dude, where's your stuff? He's like, it's right there. This is that backpack right there. I was like, oh, here it is. It's like, yeah, here. Picks it up. You know, she's half clothed. Grabs her backpack, grabs my backpack, tosses it to me. I'm like, hey, thanks a lot, appreciate it. She's like, yeah, no problem. Anyways, get onto my bus. I'm changing. As I'm walking out, the chaperone that told me to grow up is like, you're gonna come with me. And I'm like, why? I asked her simply. Why should I come with you? You know what you did. I'm sorry, I have no idea what I did. Can you go ahead and remind me? Like, you know, you went on that bus and you shouldn't have, and blah blah blah, this and this and that. You're gonna stick with me the entire trip, and you're not gonna go anywhere. Like, no, I'm not. So I went into the stadium, watched everybody else perform, played some football, soccer, etc. No big deal. As we were going back, she found me again. She's like, you know, you're gonna hear from the principal and this and this and that. I'm like, yeah, that's no problem. No big deal. I could really care less at that point. I could really care less. I'm like, whatever you say, whatever. And I think that happened on a Friday, because we went into the weekend. I think it was on actually it was a Saturday, because there was no school that day. So anyways, go back to school on Monday. I'm thinking, you know, I'm gonna have to talk to the principal, but, you know, whatever. And you know, actually it turns out that nothing happened. She didn't say anything to the principal on Monday, because apparently she was a parent that chaperoned the event. So, you know, but it turns out on Wednesday I get called in, and then the principal talks to me. He's like, hey, is this what happened? I'm like, well, what did she tell you? He's like, well, she said that you went onto the female bus just to hang out there. I'm like, well, she's full of shit, you know. So I told him what happened, and he says, oh, okay, I'll get back to you. After that, I didn't hear anything. from it. So I'm assuming everything was taken care of, and I went on with my merry life. And then come around, that was sophomore, so junior year. The second year I was there, it was I was leaving one of the class, and apparently there was a thing going around where it was called titty props. You know, any of you have heard of giving props, you know, hand bump, handshake, whatever. Well, apparently girls like to give titty props to dudes, where they would give the dudes titties props. So the girl did it to me, and I'm like, oh, you know, you do it to me, I'm gonna do it to you. She's like, ha 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 ha, titty props. She did it again. I was like, okay, boom boom, gave it right back at her. She grabbed herself like I, you know, freaking harassed her or something, and she started screaming. You know, I'm like, yo, calm down. You know, she's like, how could you do that? And it's like, I warned you, I told you, you did it anyway. Live with it. So, anyways, next period, I get called into the office. You know, I get called into the office, and it's like, oh, it's like, is this what happened? And the girl's over there crying and bawling and just, you know, you know, giving her little sad story. And the principal was like, hey, why did you do what you did? And I'm like, okay, well, what did she say I did? So she said you did this, so she's filing sexual harassment charges against you. And I'm like, oh, well, then I would like to file sexual harassment charges against her as well. And at this point, the chick kind of went, oh, wait, stopped crying, kind of looked at me and went, wait a minute, what's this? I don't understand. That kind of stupid look. And I was like, oh, well, and then I told him what happened. The principal looked at me, and I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what happened. She did it to me first. I warned her. She did it to me again. So if she's going to file sexual harassment charges against me, I'm going to go ahead and file sexual harassment charges against her, because it was an unwanted touching and, you know, all that other bullshit that I had to say. So, you know, I just, whatever. After that, the principal looks at the girl, and she's like, do you want to continue with this? Because you're both going to end up getting in trouble if you do. And she's like, no, I just want to go to class. I just, whatever. Okay, fine. That was my junior year. My senior year was actually probably the most fun I had, because it was pretty funny. What happened, so at that time I had a cell phone. And, you know, it's like, once you have a cell phone, everybody's like, oh, can I look at it, etc. You know, no big deal. I'm like, yeah, here. So some chick, she's like, oh, can I look at your cell phone? I said, fine, there you go ahead. This is before class. So she starts looking at it, and I'm like, okay, whatever. It was like, well, can I have it back? And she's like, oh, you know, no. So she sticks it under her bra. And I'm just like, whatever. Wait until class is done. Wait until it gets over. It's like, hey, can I have my phone back? Like, she looks at me, it's like, if you want it, you're going to have to go get it. Fine. Reached in, grabbed my phone, went on my way. And I'm like, this isn't going to end well, because she had a state of shock look on her face. So next period, the principal comes in. Next period, the principal calls me up to the office yet again. So I mosey my way on up, and as I'm walking in, my guidance counselor just turns, just shakes his head, and be like, Carlos, again? I just shrug my shoulders. I mean, clearly I'm the victim here. Unfortunately, I couldn't talk my way out of that last incident, because apparently the protocol should have been to get a teacher, on top of the fact that the phones weren't even allowed in school. So I got a 3-day suspension. But the silver lining of that whole thing was that I wanted to go to Evo 8 that year. Evo 8, one of the Evos. I forget the number, but I wanted to go, and I couldn't because it was during school, no big deal. But since I got suspended, I was able to go. Thumbs up for that one. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If not, have a banana. And if you have any suggestions on what you guys want me to talk about, let me know. It can be anything, really. Whatever you want me to talk about, and I'll go ahead and make a video out of it. So hope you guys have a good one. And I'm going to go and have a banana, actually. That sounded delicious. Later, everyone.